We had Chris
Yes.
Duncan versus
Oh
Mateusz
my god.
Rębecki. Will, what a bloody mess this fight turned into, huh?
Holy mother of God, this fight was awesome. I
Jeez.
mean, holy shit, dude. Rębecki, dude. I mean, this is one that, going into this card, you're like, ooh, this is going to be good. Both these guys are sick.
By the
Both
way,
these guys.
both these guys, was it out of ATT?
I know Duncan is Rębecki at ATT?
Yeah, so this is what I remember hearing that they were both from ATT. They're both staying at the barracks, the fighters' barracks.
That's so
The way
funny.
that they're training for the fight was super awkward because they had to like make sure that they were scheduling separate
Really?
times. I believe Rębecki was the one that was talking shit, saying, we know each other pretty well. That being said, I always train and spar against the tougher fighters. Duncan takes on
Oh.
the softer fighters in the gym. Which also, if you're in the gym and you're like, hey, I spar Duncan on a regular basis, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, damn,
You know what
dude.
I mean? Yeah. What the?
Am I one of
Why
the
you taking
softer guys?
shots at us, bro? But yeah, so that kind of made the fight a little interesting, right? They're kind of homies, but at the
Mhm.
same time, they're talking shit. So that was fun. Early on, Duncan catches Rębecki with an elbow,
Yes.
slices him.
Well, the first one didn't slice him. The first one put a huge knot on the top of his head to the point where they thought it was a
Yes.
headbutt. But even in that exchange, this is the epitome of this fight. Southpaw versus Orthodox, so the rear weapons are strong, right? Duncan steps in with a rear hand elbow, his right elbow, so his power side, right elbow, bangs Rębecki on the forehead, swells it up like crazy, but at the same time, Rębecki is throwing a right hook, a lead hand right hook that drops Duncan at the same moment. And that is the epitome of this fight. These
It
guys
was
just entered.
insane.
And it was like, when you watch Rams, like a nature
Beyblades.
documentary? Yeah, Beyblades, Rams where they clash, they take a couple steps back and they like rear up and they're like, all right, crash again.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just that over and over and over again.
It was such a fun fight, man. And
Yes.
look, even the chat's excited. Rębecki's chin is made from the gods, says
Yeah.
Phil. Dude, granite chin is an understatement. I don't
Dude.
understand how he stayed up with some of the shots that he ate. And same for Duncan, man. Like
Yeah.
Duncan took some serious shots. Blunderbub saying after this, I'm convinced you could take a bet to Rębecki, and he'd ask for more. I would
Dude,
double check the bat afterwards and make sure
that
that it's
right
not damaged after.
Yeah, the right kick from Duncan throughout this fight could have been a bat. Might as well have been. The high kick and to the body, and the knee was nice too because that sets it up. Obviously, I think the reason this fight went the way it did, obviously these guys are both tough as nails, but Duncan edged it out because I think he just fought a smarter fight with more of a complete game plan. This might look like a complete sloppy banger, like they were just throwing caution to the wind, throwing at each other. But Duncan, man, I was so impressed with it. Not only his footwork, it's not like flashy footwork like your Frankie Edgar or something like that, where you're like, man, you could just watch the way he moves in there and it's beautiful. No, but just the way he was pulling, constantly pulling him in to land that the right side body kick, or the head kick, or the right straight. He was constantly just making Rębecki walk right into his open side weapons, and I think that
Yes.
was the difference maker in this fight. But to Rębecki's credit, the reason that the right hand that Duncan was landing the whole night, or the right elbow, he would enter the same way with it, right? But to land those weapons, you have to square up. And if you're like this, right? If you're orthodox and you want to fight behind this lead shoulder that to take away the lead hook of the southpaw, if you are fighting like this and you're jabbing and your chin's tucked behind the shoulder, that right hook's coming this way and it's going to hit you in the shoulder, right? But if you're Duncan and you're constantly opening with that right straight, you have to square up to land that. So Rębecki's able to land. It opens a lane for that right hook. This punch right here, obviously this is off a knee, but the same thing applies. You're opening that shoulder, so you're no longer fighting behind it. So it was just a really cool matchup of Duncan funneling him into these rear side weapons, but then Rębecki realizing I'm not landing my left hand as much. He did start at the end of the fight, but he picked up quick that I could land this right hook, which normally isn't that available in an open stance matchup. But because Duncan was squaring up constantly to throw that rear hand side, that right hook was like, okay, that's the move. I'm going to start throwing that right hook. And that's what he dropped him with in the first round. Briefly, but fucking
Yeah.
cool, man.
And then Blunderbuff, shout out Blunderbuff, because he also points out knee was a smart read in the second half for
Yes.
Duncan, which, yes. And then even in that third round, it's getting closer to the end. I think there's only like a minute left. And at this point, they're both exhausted. Rębecki like starts doing that thing where he's ducking down a little bit and just throwing haymakers over, trying to
Yeah.
land something. And in one of those, Duncan just pulls Rębecki's head down and just lands a
Beautiful.
massive knee, dude, like right underneath Rębecki's right eye, and just
Where he was
cuts him
already
up
cut.
again. Yeah. So he's cut on top now. He's cut on the bottom. He's all swelling, and he still eats that knee, and he doesn't drop from it, dude. And it was a
Yeah.
hard knee, and they're just clinched up against the fence. Look at, oh my god, look at that picture again.
Yeah,
If
dude,
you're not
that was
watching on
prior.
YouTube, I highly suggest it's is gnarly.
Yeah, that was prior to the knee. I believe there is a picture of that knee landing though, in this slideshow because, like you said, it was fucking nasty. There it
Yeah.
is.
Oh man.
Oh my god, dude.
So rough. But yes, absolutely great read, like Blunderbuff said. And then there's a part where Bisbing was like, this is just one of those fights where like 6 years from now, you look back at this and you're just proud of the fact that you were in this fight. And Duncan's like, yeah, it's also one of those fights that'll take years away from you, though. You know what I mean? And I was like,
He's like, these guys aren't going to be the same at the end of their careers because of this.
I loved that commentary though, because it's the yin and yang, right? Like that's 100% they're gonna walk away from this being like, dude, we were in an absolute war. This might go down as fight of the year. But then the reality of it at the exact same time was like, dude, they both left a piece of themselves in that octagon.
Oh yeah, and like Phil says, Duncan's face was clean until the third round because in that third round, that's the damage that was accumulated in the third round. Rębecki did pour it on in that third round, despite being fucking bloodied and beaten. He did take it to him at the end. He did not get out of this one clean. I want to ask you, Ramiro, and people in the chat, and like you said earlier, if you're watching this later in the comments, let us know. But is this your fight of the year, or is it still Josh Van versus Royval?
Give me Josh.
It's got to be the other one, right? Yeah.
It's still for me. And look, these guys went to absolute war, but the technical fight, while it was still a war between Van and Royval, the adjustments that were made in that third round by Van, like it was just such a chess match while still seeing two guys crack each other.
Yeah.
But it was just beautiful. It was like as cheesy as it may sound, it was like a violent dance between two guys. You know, and over here it was just a clash, a violent clash. Yeah. The other one was a violent dance. If that makes any sense to anybody out there. But for me, still give me Royval versus Van.
Phil was a good pick. Jack Della versus Bilal might be fight of the year. Oh, yeah, that was another good one. Very technical as well. Probably more technical than even Van versus Royval. And Blue says someone has to go to jail for booking this at the Apex. There was literally the way this card went. It was like there was a fight. We'll talk about it in a bit. But I was like, oh, that's probably going to be fight of the night. And a couple fights later, another one happens, and I'm like, oh no, that's fight of the night. And then right after that one was this one, and I was like, why are any of these fights at the Apex? Come on, get me a crowd behind these guys. These guys deserve to be like, give them all the glory, you know. Instead, they're on UFC Vegas 108 that 10 people watched.
Phil coming through and saying Umar versus Merab was also really good.
It was, yes. That's probably the most technical out of all of them.
Yes. All right. Well,
good year so far, huh?
So yeah, I would say not too shabby. Yeah. Halfway through the year, a little bit past halfway.
There's some good fight of the year contenders for kind of whatever flavor you like, you know.
Hey everybody, Ramiro and Will here. Thank you for watching that short clip. Just so you know, that was a small excerpt from what we covered this last Sunday, right, Will?
Yeah, we cover the entire event every weekend. So this was just a cutout from the live stream that we did. The link to that live stream is in the description. So if you want to hear about the other fights that night, it's down below in the description. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell because we go live every Sunday to cover events. And if you do that, you'll know for next week and you can tune in and be in the chat and get featured on the show just like everybody else was on this clip.
We hope to chat with you live.